If you're emailing brokers and you're not getting responses, it's probably not the listing or the broker, it's probably your email. In this video, I'll cover the buyer introduction email, why it matters, what brokers actually look for, common mistakes that get buyers ignored, and I'll even show you an example of what I've used where I've gotten a 95% success rate in receiving information from the brokers. So the buyer intro email matters because this is your first impression to the broker, which is the gateway to the seller. Brokers are receiving tons of inquiries on their listings and they're filtering aggressively, so you have to stand out. They want to know, are you serious? Are you qualified? Can you close? And how fast can you close? A strong email equals faster NDAs, which leads to faster SIMs and better deal access. This email isn't about sounding impressive. It's just about removing doubt. So the goal of the email is easy and quick. You want to get the NDA. You want to get the SIM. You ultimately want to get the broker comfortable with discussing and speaking with you. Now, what it's not a pitch deck, it's not your life story, and it's certainly not a negotiation. So let's get into the structure of a buyer email. First thing is to have a clear and polite opening. You want it short and direct and state interest in the company and the listing that they have available. In that first sentence, ask for the NDA and for the SIM. Again, these brokers are receiving a ton of inquiries and they want to know what it is you're looking for up front. The second section and the second part of your email should be your investment thesis. You want to state the industry or business type you're looking for, the SDE range you're looking for, and the region or area that you're looking at, whether it's in your home state, it's in another state, or it's remote. This shows focus, it prevents time wasting, and it also signals this potential buyer knows what he wants and knows what he's looking for, and also lets them know that you're paying attention. The next section would be to include your background, and you need to keep this as concise as possible, no more than 2 or 3 bullet points. You want to highlight your experience that's relevant to ownership or operating a small business. Things like leadership, execution skills, negotiating, operating, managing, nothing flashy and nothing irrelevant. Don't use any fancy job titles regardless of what you have. It doesn't mean anything to the brokers. You could have a cool title like Enterprise Optimization Manager. Again, that means nothing. You need to lay out what you're actually doing and why you'd be a good fit to run a small business. This shows that you can run and operate a business, not that you just have some cool corporate title. If you have a partner or a spouse that's also involved in the process, include a short background on them as well. And then you want to show your plans for after purchase. You need to have a clear plan on how you're going to operate the business, whether it means operating it yourself, hiring a general manager, or what have you. Brokers love this and so do the sellers. It gives them an idea of what it would be like if you were the owner, and it shows that you're ready and that you're thinking ahead. I think the last thing that you should include is your financial readiness. Basically, how will you purchase the business? What is your access to capital? Are you using a mix of personal funds and financing? You could just simply state that. If you have a pre-qualified approval from a lender, you can state that as well. You don't need to include the actual pre-approval or pre-qualification, but I think it's good to state that. I do see brokers asking for this during the NDA phase more than maybe they used to, so I think it's worth putting that in there. You don't need to put exact numbers just to be clear. You could just say, I plan on using a mix of personal funds, including savings and investments, as well as SBA financing, which I have pre-qualification letter for, and keep it at that. So now I'll go through my buyer email, which has gotten me about a 95% success rate. All right, so this is an example that I have used that's been very successful. First line, obviously, you want to greet them. You want to put the company or whatever listing it is there. It shows them that it's kind of personable. And then immediately ask them for the NDA and SIM. That's where you put it in the first sentence. This is helpful to them again. Then you talk a little bit about yourself, your investment thesis. So here, I'm seeking a service-based company that can be run from home or an online business generating $300,000 to $750,000 in SDE. Talk a little bit about my background as a Marine Corps veteran and how I've spent the last 10 years in the corporate banking space. And here, again, I only have 2 bullet points about what I've actually done. I think that's enough. You don't need more than 2 or 3 maximum. Then I have a little bit about my wife and what she's done Again, only 2 bullet points. And then this next section, I talk about once we close on an acquisition, we're going to take over the day-to-day management of the company, and that we have access to a mix of personal savings and a pre-qualified SBA partner, and that we're happy to provide it if they want. And then you say you look forward to receiving or reviewing the sim, and that's it. Again, I've received 95% success rate on this, and it's short and simple. You don't need to put too much information in it, just enough about you and what you're looking for and what you're planning to do. So some common buyer email mistakes includes things like having it too long and too personal, not having your search criteria or your investment thesis, so the broker kind of feels like you're all over the place and not focused, asking aggressive questions too early. This is not a time for you to ask questions about the business. You need to learn more information before you start asking questions, because some of those questions are probably in the sim. Sounding unsure or like you're just kind of looking around. Again, you need to send that email with intent. They need to understand that you are a serious buyer and you're looking for a business to buy. And then using generic copy and paste templates. Now, there are templates you can use, but make sure you include your actual information and details about yourself. If your email sounds like a tire kicker, that's exactly how you're going to be treated. This buyer email is important. It gets you into the funnel. It leads to a sim, which then leads to a call with the broker and a potential call with the seller, and then to an LOI, and then into, actually purchasing the business. So it's a very important step that maybe is overlooked a lot of times. So I encourage you all to write your own. I'd love to see them. Again, I'm continuing my LOI process, going through operational due diligence, which I'll speak about in the next video. If you found this video helpful, smash that like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.